Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the studio this evening. And tonight I'm going to change glasses. Tonight we're not working on titanium, which I am sort of pleased about. I like titanium. It's nice. It's a lovely sort of dusky thing. I think the muted colours look really nice. That's titanium here. But boy, is it hard to do. It's hard to work. So titanium, it's a strong metal. Guess what? It's a strong metal. But I want to make a necklace to go with this, to make a set to go with the bracelet, the earrings and a necklace. So I intend to make a Byzantine chain necklace in silver colour. God, you do have to be careful. As I'm selling stuff, I have to be careful what I describe as silver, so that you don't think I mean silver, high quality sterling silver type silver. I mean silver colour. That's the weird thing, you see. I can talk about sterling silver rings. I can talk about jewellery made from sterling silver rings, like this one here. I can even sell you jewellery which I have made from sterling silver rings. I just can't sell you sterling silver jewellery. It has to be hallmarked. Well, it is if it's this weight. I can sell you clasps that are sterling silver, but to be honest, I kind of think that this looks nicer than that. That's sterling silver. This is aluminium in silver colour, and it's lovely and shiny and has been for quite a long time. Anyway, I'm making one of these, but longer. 16 inch necklace. So Byzantine, so it's a relatively nice, easy one to do. I've forgotten how long that is because I'm going to estimate the number of rings that I need, and I'm sure nobody's watching me anymore now. That's 7 inches, so I want a bit multiplied by 7 inches. Let's count roughly how many rings there are. Where's my sharp pointy tool? There it is. Go straight through here. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50, 55, 58, 60, 62, 64, 66, 68, 70, 72, 74, 76, 78, 80, 82, 84, 86, 88, 90, 92, 94, 96, 98, 100. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46. So that's about 300 and some. That's 7, so 14-inch would be 300 and 7, so a seventh of 100 and about 320 rings. To make one. So I think that's approaching what I happen to have. In this bag. I might even count them. That would be novel. So let's just move things. I'm showing off now, you see. I'm leaving these on display. Showing off. Whilst I make this. So these are available for sale if you want to buy them on Etsy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. So that's 100. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. That's another 100. You might wonder what the point of counting them is. One of the points is to make sure I've got enough. No point in starting if I can't finish it. Well, there's only half a point in starting it. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 90, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, and then we'll do 20. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20. Right, so that should be enough in those piles there to construct a necklace. That's about 16 and a bit inches. So I now need to know how many to open and how many to close. And I'm going to go to work this out. And then I do 2 open, 2 closed, 2 open, 2 open, 2 closed. So I want 2 lots open, 1 lot closed, and then divide that into 2/3. Okay. If I got that right, it means it's quicker to work with. So we are now going to spend some time opening 200 rings. Sounds a lot. It's not bad. And after the titanium from yesterday, this is quite nice. It's really surprising. They were a narrower gauge, smaller gauge. I think they were 20 gauge, something like that. I can't remember now. And these are 18 gauge. 18 gauge is thicker wire, and yet these are easier to open than the titanium. They're certainly a lot easier to close. Titanium is twisted reasonably easily, but closing the actual gap was really quite hard. Certainly hard on the hands. Which is something you don't get as much with aluminium. So it's what I'm going to do actually is just so I can put these my hands at a reasonably comfortable position. I've just tipped that up like that so you can see. I know it's not showing off the beautiful things that are on the desk, but oh, you can see a few there. They're all stuff I've made this week. I will go back to the carving at some point, but not today. I'm not really in the mood at the moment for sharp chisels around the place. So we're doing some jewellery. And this is a Byzantine bracelet. No, it's not a bracelet, it's a necklace. Or it's a really big bracelet, whichever way you want to look at it. A bracelet for your neck. Maybe that's a new fashion thing we can start. Bracelets for your neck. Actually, I suppose that signify, or that's more like a choker than anything else, isn't it? A bracelet for your neck. But we're doing this in silver coloured aluminium rings. So we've got then a full set, a bracelet, a necklace and earrings. That will be available if anybody's interested in buying them, because all the jewellery is available to be purchased if you like what you see, and the purchase will do 2 things. one of the main things, it will help me buy more stuff to do on stream, so either more rings or more art supplies. And the second thing it will do, if I sell enough of it, is it helps. Well, I probably don't have a job soon, so it will help in that respect as well. So feel free to check out the shop, Etsy, zaragonart.etsy.com. Tell all your friends, anybody who might be interested in jewellery, either for themselves or as a present for somebody else. It's all really nice and sparkly stuff. You can see some of it here. It's a little bit out of focus, but if anybody's interested in looking at any of the pieces, just let me know. And if you want to see any of the ones that are on Etsy, most of them I do have around me here and can show them as well. And if you want to see trains, if Fluffy Twiglet's around, if you want to see trains, I can show you trains in pyrography or in punchcraft, which is rug making, which is another thing that I do on stream sometimes from time to time. Can't show you any in scraperboard because I haven't done any trains in scraperboard yet. Media player has crashed. Okay, thank you very much, media player. Let's start media player again, sorry. But play something in the background. There we go. Yeah. Actually, one of the things I would buy at some point in the near future is a visor type magnifying glasses. It'll make me look silly on stream, but I'll actually be able to see what I'm doing a lot better, because I'll be magnifying visors. But there again, looking silly on stream, it's par for the course really, isn't it? So if anybody does happen to have any questions about any of the art forms that you, or craft forms that you see me streaming, feel free to ask, especially while I'm doing this, because this is just opening rings, and it's not the most interesting activity in the world. It's quite zen-like when you're doing it. You get sort of into the rhythm of doing it, and you can sort of zone out and think about other things as well, or in my case doing 3 things at the same time, thinking about what I'm saying and doing this and making sure I stay on frame and actually talk more something more than gibberish. Doing 4 things at once. You see, fellas can multitask. I know lots of ladies out there think not, but sorry Junior, you can't come on my knee. You're going to try. Let me lift you over all this stuff then. If you're going to try, let me lift you. There you go. That's a junior pussycat. Now, hopefully he'll settle down without needing stroking. You could go sit on Lady Zara, you know, Junior. She'd really love you to do that. In the meantime, you can sort of not see his head. You can see his ears and you can see his nose, but Hello. I suppose what I could do is tilt the camera down, because I am sure the cat camera is a lot more interesting than a Zaragonart camera. There you go. Of course, now I'm blocking his your view of him while I'm doing this. But for those of you watching that don't know, other crafts that are done on stream, carving, as I've mentioned, relief carving. There's been at least two or three things that we've done on stream. Starting with a relief carved rose. Relief carving is a way of carving half an object. It's not a full 3D. It's sort of 3D on the front and flat on the back sort of object. And we've done what we've done. We've done at least a rose. We've done a dragon. And I'm doing at the moment an eagle owl. I think there's another one, but I can't remember what it is. Did an actual 3D carving with knives, really sharp knives, which was done of a pussycat. Didn't quite look like a pussycat. It wasn't. Sort of, it resembled a pussycat, but wasn't the best. No, didn't get far off. Let's see if I can persuade him not to put his head down on there. You're sniffing at them. I don't want you laying your head on them. No, I know, you don't like it, but I don't like you putting your head on them. So that was relief carving. Scraper board. Scraper board is a board covered in porcelain clay and then covered in black Indian ink, and you literally scrape the top off of it to create a black and white image. So you scrape the board, hence the name scraper board. It's a trade name more than anything, but that's do some very nice images. You'll see some of the pictures of these things pop up on the left hand side at some point. And the scraper board you will be immediately obvious. It's in black and white ish. One of them is a cottage, which is black and white and green. You can actually colour scraper board. You use an ink which sort of dyes the clay, as you might expect, and for the cottage it's surrounded by grass, and so we done the scraper representation of the grass, and then we coloured it green, and boy did that make a big difference to that image. It really makes it stand out, as does the green. So just adding that little bit of extra colour was absolutely fantastic. And you'll see Earthrise there as well, which is an interesting image. It's one I always wanted to do. Earthrise, as in the Earth as seen from the moon. So you get the moon's surface, and scraper board is ideal for that as well. It is actually for any space image because of the really black background. And you get black, obviously the black of space, and done carefully, the moon's surface kind of resembles what it looks like. It's grey, and it's a grayscale, so that's a really nice, from my point of view, is a really nice image to do. And I think you'll see a couple of others there as well, one of which is of John Miles, if you're familiar with that musical artist. Great bloke, and it was great fun to do his portrait on stage as well, singing with a microphone. He was singing to an audience. At the time the photograph was taken that we used as a reference. And you will see on there also some woolly looking pictures, a couple of them, both of trains. One of a diesel electric called a Class 66, I think it is. Yeah, it is, because that's the number that's on the side of it. And one of something called a steam engine called an A4 Pacific, which is actually Mallard in this particular case. Mallard being the world's steam rail record holder. 100, I can't remember if it's 125 or 126 miles per hour. I think they did 126 but claimed 125 miles per hour as the record. Yeah, done on the East Coast Main Line even. Not too far away from me in West Yorkshire. That's, for those of you who don't know, is the White Rose County. The White Rose of York. York, in theory, being the capital city of Yorkshire. The county after which it is named. But they're done using a technique which is actually really rather well. It's the same as rugs are made. You punch a needle through a backing material, dragging with it the wool from which the rug, or in this case the thread from which the picture is made, and pull the needle back out, leaving the thread in place. That's how punchcraft is made, and it's how rugs are made. Some carpets are made that way as well, but a lot of carpets are actually woven rather than using needles. The other thing is rugs are done probably using something like 1,000 needles at a time, so they go through like a machine gun. When I'm doing it, it's one needle, one manpower, and sort of about one punch per second at most. But so I'm not quite fast as a machine, but it sometimes feels like you're a bit of a machine sometimes when you're punching those things. But they make really nice pictures. A little bit, relatively speaking, low resolution. You can't get a fantastic amount of detail, but you can get quite a bit of detail out of punchcraft. And you can go three-dimensional as well, so you can actually sculpt the surface, which also makes for an interesting image. Some things work better sculpted than others, but it is an interesting technique. And what else is involved? So we've got pyrography is the other one. The brown images when you see them on the left, that's pyrography, often known as wood burning, although you don't burn the wood, and sometimes you don't even use wood. But pyrography literally means fire writing. I tend to translate it more as drawing with heat, because that's actually more akin to what you're doing. You're sort of cooking the surface of the wood, which when you do that turns it brown, and then you know the different degrees of cooking determine the different degrees of brown, and therefore you can create all sorts of shades and create what is still a monochrome picture. You notice a lot of monochrome in my stuff. I like monochrome. Different shades of brown, so you can create what looks like old photographs quite often. You know, the old photographs that go sepia toned. You can create images like that really quite well. And you should see some of them on the left hand side, the brown looking things. I think there's probably only one or two that are depicted. You will probably see a couple that are of door hangers. That was done kind of as a challenge, but it's an image of a fox on both sides. One of it is asleep and one of it's awake, hence the door hanger, do not disturb or it's okay type of thing was the idea. Can't remember whether Zelda boxes are there and the Zelda writing, but they're actually available as well if anybody's interested. A box with a Zelda Triforce logo on it, I think it is off the top of my head, is available. If and I can do the Hyrulean alphabets. I can create either small plaques, large plaques, A4 size writing with Hyrulean alphabet. Write anything you like in Hyrulean, which, if you didn't know, is the language of in Zelda. And of course, jewellery. Jewellery takes less time to do. The other crafts sort of take something, I don't know, anything up to 30-ish hours, that sort of thing, to do the images. And so that's about 2 to 3 weeks of craft on stream. So when I've been doing jewellery in the past, I've been doing about 2 to 3 weeks. Well, that's quite a lot of time. You know, when a bracelet will take about an hour to 2, so you can get through a lot more jewellery than you do images. So that's why you're actually seeing more pictures of jewellery on the left hand side, but all of which have been done on stream and demonstrated whilst I'm doing it. And you should get to see some weaving of jewellery tonight, although we will be spending quite a bit of time preparing all these rings. But it does give me a chance to ramble on and talk about some of the crafts that you see there. I am hoping that later this year, when I have new studio space, I may be able to do some of the other crafts that I do. I am an artist, and you know, you can see that, I guess, from the pictures, but that, you know, the various pictures that come up on the left hand side there. But I also, when I have the space for it, do airbrush work, and I'd like to be able to do some of that on stream again. And I do glass engraving, so that's using a high-speed, well, dentist drill basically to you could carve glass with it, but I generally engrave glass with it. Not quite the same thing. Carving glass is deep carving or deep engraving, and there are some artists that create some really beautiful stuff like that, but you tend to use lead crystal glass for that, and lead crystal glass is not cheap, and I can't afford to just use it just to practice on or to do things on stream with. But we might get some glass engraving in the future. And actually the same tools can be used to carve wood, so you may even get to see some not engraving of wood, but carving using high-speed rotary tools as well. When I carve using the chisels, I turn a block of wood into chips of wood. When I carve using rotary tools, I turn blocks of wood into sawdust. And when I say sawdust, I mean sawdust. Really fine stuff, and I have to use an extractor generally when I'm doing that, because otherwise it gets everywhere, and everywhere means your lungs, and it's not a very good place to have sawdust, isn't your lungs? And actually, one of the other crafts I want to try at some point is perler art. I do have a perler starter set. If you're not familiar with that, it's little plastic tubes, or what do you call them? I don't know quite what you call them. They are a little plastic tube, and you can create pictures using them. They're coloured basically on a pegboard or of various sizes, and once you've created your image, you basically apply heat, which melts the plastic a little bit and fuses them all together into a big solid piece. So they also get called fuse beads as well, for that very reason. And you can create all sorts of things like small sprites and large images and things like that. So that's another craft I would like to try at some point. So I've got the stuff to do it, just not the space. And I haven't actually found the right image of something that I want to do either. Kind of feels like I need to find a special image or something to do it with. Like me. I see. Obviously you've no idea what you're talking about. All of which require some skill or other. Even perler beads. If you have ever tried doing a dot matrix picture or a dot pixel based picture, you'll find it needs quite a bit of skill. And if you try placing those things in a matrix board, you'll find you need a lot of skill with a steady hand not to knock them all over the place. Indeed. I can do that as well. In fact, I've done one of those on stream as well. And when you're using size 10.0 or 11.0 seed beads, like that, that's quite a bit of skill to weave those in peyote stitch into something like a 7.5 inch bracelet, about an inch wide, which was done on stream not so long ago. That's good. So what do you make with them then, like me? You use 11.0s, yeah. They're Mayoki, sorry, they're Delica beads, so they're the sort of slightly squarer ones rather than the round ones. Rather than seed beads, but and I quite like those for doing peyote stitch. I haven't tried much with actual seed beads, but I do like the little tiny beads because you can use them like pixels. So what do you make with them then, like me? 48,000 of them though. That's quite a lot. I mean, I know there's sort of several thousand in something that size, but it's still a lot. It's 48,000. Any particular ranges, or if you just built those up, or do you like particular colours and things like that? I mean, there are people that would say there's no skill at all to just putting a bead on the end of a beading needle and pulling a thread through, you know. So I think when you've done it, and you go into sort of getting the right tension and on things, and the right thread path to weave what you're trying to weave and things like that, that people actually realise it's not necessarily as easy as they might think. All for one. Oh, if you one massive 24 board picture in Perla. Oh right, blimey, a 24 board picture. Wow. I'm assuming you're talking the 20 by 20 boards as well. That's a heck of a lot of work. You intend to fuse all those as a single image, or are you doing it in bits? God, that's one hell of a size. That really is. Yeah. It depends. I mean, the if you do something like a cuff style bracelet, inch and a half wide, you've got what? Well, if you go like for what, 2 inches wide, for example, so a nice band, you've got what, 22 pixels across. So you could do pictures quite easily in 22 pixels. And if you decided to do it, you know, as an image rather than a jewellery, for example, you actually decided to do a small image in beads, then of course you can go as wide as you like, more or less, and then, you know, both the weave and the picture become important. I do have some 10 I think behind me. I've not got several thousand, but I do have some pretty colours, and it's something I intend to try. Well, not try some more of. I haven't done a lot of beading because I do like things like the peyote stitch from the point of view of how it matches. You know, how you get a really close knit or close woven design with it. But I'm not impatient doing things. I like doing things like that, but they do take a long time to do. You can do a solid colour. It not matter the weave used to. It's even, yeah. Go on, Junior. Sorry, the cat's just got off my knee, which is good. Yeah. Well, move your tail out of the way, pussycat. Sorry. Yeah, I really enjoy it. I haven't done a lot in beadwork. I've done a couple of sorry about the camera moving. That's the cat stretching out. Like chainmail, colour is meaningless. I don't think colour is meaningless in chainmail. That's kind of not. You see, chainmail is the technique of weaving rings. It's a bit like saying peyote means that everything's red, or, you know, it's you can do lots of things with peyote. Chainmail's the same. You know, that's one weave in chainmail. That's another one. Same colours, completely different weave, completely different look. You can go to a different set of colours here. This is a different weave again. And you know, this one is also chainmail, just the technique of weaving rings, and this is titanium rings. I get what you mean. It is, but equally well, the colours, it can enhance the weave. And you can make the same weave in two different designs. These two are the same design, same weave. Okay, and they look different. In fact, they're the same size rings as well. And so you do mail as well. Okay. So the next question becomes, do you stream? Because if you do, I would certainly enjoy watching you. Byzantine, indeed. And I'm just about to do a, when I've sort of prepped all these rings, I'm about to do a necklace. one of the things, or half of the things I've thought about doing as well, is doing things like half and half, or so you know, you do a chainmail back, if you like, and a peyote bead front. You know, and you can put the two together. It's like when I do the carving, I can carve, and then I can either paint it, or I can apply pyrography to the carving as well, if I want it to do so. So I can sort of combine two or more art forms together, or craft forms, depending on whether you consider this sort of thing arts or crafts. Uh, 10 PM to 2 AM PST. So you're 8 minus 8 GMT. Okay, my brain's not working. Let me ask you, what time is it where you are at the moment? It's 9 PM UK GMT here, so does that make it 1? That would make it 1 PM BST, is that correct? No chance I watch. You might be surprised. I sometimes watch when I'm watch streams whilst I'm at work, or I'll put a stream on, and that would be obviously between 9 and 5 UK GMT. My brain's not working with time zones tonight. I'm trying to work out what 10 PM is. So 10 PM plus 8 hours. It's about, yeah, that would be about 4 AM in the morning. 6 AM in the morning. So that is a little bit early, but of course 2 PM then is a bit more. 1 PM there. Yeah, I was right. I did the maths. Hey! Or math, I guess, as you guys call it. But I'm in England, so it's maths. It's plural. Let me find my mouse, and I shall do that. I shall you get the Aussie crowd again. I actually sometimes watch an Aussie doing chainmail. I've forgotten his name now, but I do sometimes watch an Aussie doing chainmail. But I have followed you, so we will. If you are streaming at some point when I'm around, I'll see if I can watch. I do tend to like watching people actually doing things on Twitch rather than too many of the electronic artists, as we've got quite a lot of them. Okay, for some reason I am not working as fast as I normally do with this, but 3D printing robot builds. Okay. That would be something I'd look at. I have a 3D printer kit in a box here, which I haven't got the space to build yet. When I do have the space to build, I will be building a 3D printer on stream. It's an old one though. It's a RepRap kit, so I've had it now about 2 or 3 years, but it might not be the best, but it'll work. And I can always use it to build a better one. In the box, yeah, unfortunately. Well, if you recall, I don't know if you recall or know the RepRaps, they're not small, and you can virtually see the whole of my studio space at the moment, and that's my art studio space, we're having some work done to which will create a larger studio, but that means for the moment everything is somewhat compressed in here, and I'm kind of dying to get it out of its box. You have 3 up and running. Oh dear, you're trying to make me jealous. Tell you what, should come soon, and that's a Tico. It was on Kickstarter, so a little. I don't know if you've come across that one, but a little 3D printer. What I was trying to say was it's a Delta, but it's a small Delta, so not a fantastically big one, but it looked interesting, and I backed that, and it should be delivering shortly, and I look forward to playing with that. I'm quite interested because I have done some 3D modelling on using CAD. So one of the things I'm quite interested to see with 3D printing is to try, so if you like, 3D sculpting and then translate that actually into a 3D print. Unfortunately I can't afford something like ZBrush, but yeah, I kind of would love to try doing things like tiki vases and stuff like that, and just you know, come up with some really nice sort of vase type designs. You have a Flux Delta and you love it. I've not tried it. Yeah, a long time ago I played with, well, I used to have Autodesk. I haven't tried the 123. I know it's free for non-commercial use, isn't it? I think off the top of my head. And I keep meaning to have a play with it, but it's there's other things that sort of take priority. Tend to take priority at the moment. Things like you know, eating and the Etsy shop, which is on the left-hand side there. Trying to sort of get that up and running, and I've not had a lot of time to play with things like 3D CAD. Yeah, well, I could never afford AutoCAD. I had used it at work at one point, but and I did like it. I had to end up with Autodesk for, you know, to use for myself, and that was it was a long time ago. That was before Windows, and it was, you know, it was a straight DOS package, was Autodesk. At the moment, the 3D package I use when I'm is SE3D, but I use that for creating models for use in a flight simulator. Sorry, a model aircraft simulator. I've been playing around with what's it called now? Not ZBrush, Sculptress, which is sort of a well, it was bought out by ZBrush, but it's kind of, if you think of it as a ZBrush or ZBrush beginners package, so you're actually sculpting meshes rather than solid objects. 21 3.5. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I remember packages being being sent in 5 1/4 inch floppies. I'm old, you see. In actual fact, I think I've still got some somewhere, because I've still got a drive upstairs in the loft. 8 inch floppies, single-sided 8 inch floppies. That's 100. I think it's 128K off the top of my head per floppy. But yeah, computing history. I did mechanical drafting at school when I was probably about 15, but that was pencil, so computers just weren't a thing back then. And I've never actually done it as a profession or anything like that. I've just been, just using it for my own purposes. The latest project I'm using it for is I've made some remote control articulated trucks. So one of the things I've also got a remote control tank, which is sort of the same scale. It's not quite, but similar, and I wanted to make a low loader. So that's been drawn out in CAD, and then at some point I'll get around to building it when I have the space. I've got most of the materials I need, but again, space, the one thing I don't have a lot of. Oh, right, yeah. Oh, well, back then, digitizer, yeah. Digitizers back then. I can remember some of the first digitizers I came across with actually were an arm. And you moved an arm around before they got to wired pens and things like that, and then wireless pens. And I've got a Wacom screen to the right of me here, which I can use these days for. Generally use it for electronic painting, but it's great to use something like that when you're doing CAD, when you can just point and drag a line or stretch something. It's a heck of a lot better than using a mouse. Oh, I'll tell you what. Last night and the night before, I was making these two items, the titanium rings, and boy are they hard to use. And this is aluminium, and it's kind of really nice and easy just to do these, prep these rings. Don't know, have you tried? You tried any other metals besides? Because I'm assuming your mail is done either with stainless or aluminium. Yeah, you like the bright colours. Yeah, so do I. I like the shiny stuff. It was I got the titanium to try things out, but I kind of really do. It's a muted colour, but they're I describe it as dusty or dusky, and it's not perfect colouring. It's like it's got a colour shift to it. So as you get different light or different angles, you get a very slight colour shift, which I also find quite fascinating. But they are difficult to work. But yeah, anodized aluminium, lovely sparkly colours. I just wish that it wouldn't fasten themselves together like that. There we go. Yeah, I need to, let me just run a permit, otherwise it will time you out. Yep, there you go. Okay, just bear with me a second. That's better. Let's have a look then. This. Okay. Hey, that's nice. So is that together is three rings. You did 34 of them. So that's three large rings, I guess. Concentric rings with the smaller ones wrapped around them. Boy. Now the only problem is I don't actually know how big those coins are. But they look quite small, shall we say. I like the colourful one more than I like the pure silver ones. Just it just is a bit more of a striking effect. You like working small, yeah. So what are they sort of 7/64? That sort of size of the rings. I love working small as well. That's one reason why I like the titanium, but. I've got some sample pieces here that I've just put round mail in. What size? I forgot what size I'm working at the moment. What size am I working at the moment? I don't know. These am I working? Sorry, I'm just having a look what I'm working at. 80. Yeah, the silver I'm working at the moment is 18 gauge, 4mm internal diameter. So (5/32 of an inch), the silver one, and I forgot what these little ones are, but they're a 20 gauge, and I love the small as well. 7/32 and 15th. Wow, yeah, that is small. But I too love the really small stuff. What else have I got around here? I tend to leave lots of the sample bits just all over the desk. Yeah. Turkish round in the same little tiny rings, 20 gauge little rings. The cat's laying on the other sample, so I'm not about to disturb him, because he tends to react with claws and teeth. Yeah, that's not as small, but I enjoy this. I enjoy working with the small stuff. The only problem is with the small stuff is if you want to make a 7.5 inch bracelet. You just need A, so many rings, and B, it just takes hours. Well, it takes me hours anyway, to get that far. But I do love them. You try to stick to 18 gauge. Okay, I tend to use 18 and 19 a lot. This is the silver here is 18 gauge. But I use a 19. Actually, yeah, 19 gauge, because I find, well, obviously things like in the smaller sizes, things like the Persian 4-in-1 works better with the 19 gauge than it does with the 18. American is too. Standard gauge is a bit most. American is a bit. I actually, are these SWG? Yeah, these are SWG. But yeah, you have to be really careful when you're buying rings. I've been called out more than once where they've gone, size 18, and it's been American wire gauge or vice versa. And I got really caught out when I bought actual sterling silver rings. For some reason, sterling silver rings, certainly in the UK, are sold by outside diameter, not inside diameter. I bought some to make this one on the left. Yeah, on the left. And I got caught out. So Lady Zara, my wife, got herself a bracelet as well, because I could use the ones I actually got as a Byzantine. So she got a Byzantine bracelet. I got a 4-in-1. Yeah. Well, of course, with sterling silver, they didn't actually specify the AR. They just gave you the wire diameter and the diameter of the rings. And yeah, because I've been used to buying aluminium and others, where they always quote the internal diameter. I was something like 2 millimeters out. And then I've noticed it from then on onwards. Of course, you don't want to get caught out twice, especially not buying sterling silver. I tend these days it's to work more from the millimeter versions, just because it makes the maths a bit easier. When you're trying to work out what the AR is. In colour in that order, yeah. Thing I find about the chainmail stuff though is there's so many different designs that I want, weaves I want to try out, and getting hold of sometimes the right AR for some of those is quite difficult in the UK anyway. I know you guys in the States, you've got people like the Ring Lord who will basically sell you thousands of different sizes, and but can't really import them to the UK. It just costs too much. So you're kind of stuck with, over here you're stuck with what shops tend to import, because a lot of them buy them from the Ring Lord, import them, and then resell them over here. Yeah. There's a few things like Mobius rosettes. I'd love to try some of those, but getting some fairly large AR sizes for things like that is quite difficult. And some of the full Persian variations. I mean, I can do full Persian with the what are these 19 gauge 3/16. I can do full Persian with those, but I want to try some of the variations on it, and those are the AR's too small for some of the variations, whose names have escaped me. But I have considered winding my own rings, but the problem is getting hold of the anodized aluminium wire in the right size then. Yeah. Well, you guys in the States do seem to have more choice of suppliers, though. It's almost like, as I say, in the UK, there's a fair number of people that sell rings, but they're almost all from the same, import from the same place. So you are kind of stuck with a limited range. I mean, there's so I'm just trying to think now. 20, 19, 18 and 16 gauge tend to be the limit, and then there's only probably about 3 or 4 ring sizes in each of those to choose from. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7. I'll do those. Actually, I want 8. Not specifically. I've done a little bit of Japanese weave. 2-in-2 style Japanese weave, using just what's available to me, so like 20 gauge 7/64 rings, for example, with like 18 gauge whatever these are, 4mm 5/32, and it sort of works. He says, I'm just looking for the piece that I did last. Yes, okay, pussycat. Is it? Yeah, it should be in this bag. Let me just... What should be in the bag and what's actually in the bag are two different things. I did a heart pendant, which I'm just looking for. Now, oh yeah, that was a peyote stitch, by the way. That was a kit. I admit this was a kit. This was the first one I ever did. But when I try something new, I tend to buy a kit. Then I know I've got all that I need, and I did that, and I really enjoyed doing that. It was done on stream as well. I have a box full of jewellery there, but tell you what, you might. There's one thing I hate about working with these is that Swarovski crystal. Yeah, Delica, lovely. I like the fact just how they all come together on that. It was lovely. I want to do some more. Actually, Delica's quite not that easy to get in the UK either. Again, problem with all the seed beads though is the best prices, of course, are available online, but you're trying to judge colours online. I know, I guess you can buy a colour card, can't you, for things like the Delicas, but oh, where's my necklace gone? I've done. No, that's not it. Unfortunately, probably the cat's asleep on it, and there's no way I dare disturb that cat. But have I got a small test section around here? I should have. There we go. This is just a small test triangular section, which is it's just obviously the standard, a fairly standard Japanese weave. Oh, it's not so much colour matching. It's actually it's not colour matching. It's deciding on what the colour actually is. You know, so you know you can see something described as aqua, for example. I am being a little bit tentative. Junior, I'm just going to pull this out from underneath you. Yeah, these are aqua. But when you see aqua as a description, and even when you see the pictures online, knowing what that colour actually is, and getting, you know, so you get it, and you know, you might get blue, and I'm making this up, and you can't quite tell whether it's sky blue, royal blue, or ocean blue. And then when you get it, of course, you've just paid whatever it is for a tube, and it's not the colour that you thought it was. Then that's the frustrating bit. Not matching it, not sort of saying, "Oh, I want, you know, another one of the same." Yeah, no, it's what. One of the things I want to try and do is to put to actually, you know, like the delicate. The peyote that I showed you, that's a pattern. I mean, solid patterns like that are easy to do, but if I wanted to put something like, let's say, a poppy into a bracelet, which is one of the things I'd like to do for a peasant for a particular reason, you kind of want the right sort of colour for that. You know, a green, so you want sort of a leaf green. Well, it's a bit of a bright green, but you don't, you know, you want something that's what I mean by looking for colour, rather than just going, oh, I'm just, you know, geometric patterns. It kind of doesn't matter so much about the colours. Yeah, no, so that was just this is about the only Japanese style stuff I've done is that pattern, but I did this in red. That sort of red, and made a heart pendant out of it. So that's the only Japanese style stuff I've done. But boy, it's hard work to get those because these are 20 gauge 7/64, so the little silver ones. Putting the first ones on is easy. The second one gets a bit harder. I'd actually love it to actually get some slightly smaller 20 gauge, so it was a little bit, because this is a bit floppy. I'd prefer it a little bit more rigid. Yeah, and I can spend hours in the shop looking, but things like I can get seed beads fairly easily. You know, there's a couple around here. There's a couple of shops that sell seed beads, 10-0, 11-0, 8-0 seed beads, but they don't sell delicas. Whilst I haven't yet tried to do a peyote stitch with seed beads, it sort of doesn't strike me as it would look quite as good. So I have yet to find a shop within reasonable distance that I could actually go to that sells delicas, and I could actually sort of look at them and go, Yeah, they're the ones I want. What the bead weaves or chain weaves? Because my favorite, well, one of my favorite things to just spend hours looking at, of course, is male artisans, which I'm sure you've come across. Looking at that, I want to do that. I want to try that, and you find out it's an AR 7.6 that you have to use, and you can't find an AR 7.6 because they wound their own. Bead weaves. Good evening, Eat More Chips. Welcome back to the stream. Bead weaves. Okay. Well, I'm not going to be doing it tonight, by me, but yeah, by all means. Not averse to doing something like that. Yeah. Your mail is more of a fourth tier habit, yeah. Well, it's kind of one of 10 for me. Thank you very much, Blight Me, for following it. I do 5 different things on stream, not all at the same time, of which mail is one of them. The bead weaving isn't yet, but I could, when I do some more of that, I probably will do it on stream. But I do carving, pyrography, punchcraft, scraper board, as well as this. So it's one of 5 that I do. But I'm also an airbrush artist. I do rotary carving, glass engraving, latch hook rugs, cross stitch, needlepoint, and I can, if I really want it, to crochet and knit as well, but I don't do that very often. Yeah, it does. I've not finished to Eat More Chips. I just don't want. I'm not in the mood for sharp chisels at the moment. And so I've kind of just doing some of this just because, yeah, sharp chisels when you're not in a mood for it is not a good idea. Yeah, I'm not. You know, I was going to say I'm not good at carving. That's underestimating what I do. As I can carve. I'm not an expert carver. And it takes. I'm tentative. I don't have the confidence in my ability to represent the object enough to sort of go in really quickly and get rid of waste wood. You know, in one session in a couple of hours. So it does take me a little while to do it, but a lot of that is practice. But you know, when a piece takes 20 to 30 hours, then where did that go? You don't practice. You don't get to practice that often, shall we say? Yeah, generally speaking, I do relief carving more than anything else. I do find that easier to do, but I also don't have a really suitable vise to do 3D carving in. I've done some hand knife carving, and I did a little bit of that on stream. It wasn't fantastic. That was it was my first knife carve. Sleeping cat it kind of looks more like a wolf. But you know, I learned a lot when I was doing it. So you know, but I don't. To do anything larger, I kind of could do with a proper vice, and I don't have one at the moment. It just gets a little bit too dangerous. But I have done interesting things in carving. Actually, this was done a while ago and was done with actually X-Acto blade, you know, razor, not exactly a razor blade, a scalpel type blade. So a wooden chain out of a single piece of wood. A bear dog. Yeah, yeah. Yes, you're right. That is kind of what it does resemble. Where's the? Where's Ruth gone? There she is. Oh, there he is, rather. That was the. That was a dragon that was done on stream. Now that took about 30 hours, but again, I'd never done one before, and I actually carved the wings about 4 times because I kept messing up the joint to the body, the arm joints, there and there, getting them wrong. So I had to carve those wings about 4 times. Indeed, that's exactly where it came from, like me. This is Ruth. And it's from Michael Whelan. It's his style of art. It's not an exact copy, but it is fan art, if you like, of his drawing of all the weirs of Pern. And I kind of learnt some things not to do, like not to have such tiny gaps between the head and the wing, and if I'd have wrapped the tail the other way, I'd have had more carving room and things like that. Oh, good, thank you very much. Well, I'm glad at least you know it looks enough like it that you could spot it straight away. That's amazing, and thank you very much for your guess. Well, you know, you're saying that because it does mean that it looks like what it was meant to, which is fantastic. That was the first one that was done, and that was done without even a clamp, which was not a good idea, because you'll have seen now I actually clamp it down to the desk. But this is done in ash, and ash is really hard wood, and so this is a really shallow relief carving, and hopefully you can tell what that one is. And I'm fairly convinced I've done another one, but I can't actually recall what it is or where it is, for that matter. How are you doing? Eat more chips, by the way. Feel free to chip in. You know, it's. I know there's a lot of discussion going on about things like beadwork and stuff, but. I'm going to have to get myself a magnifier one of these days. Fighter jet. Now, how did you know? I mean, what gave it away? That's what I want to know. What gave it away? I didn't think anybody would ever get that. I know if Fluffy Twiglet was around, she'd have said, train. Oh dear, there we go. Come on, rings. There's only 6 of you there. You can't. That's it. Actually getting around to doing some weaving now. Can never pick these things up how you want to pick them up. Yeah, that's right. This is such a simple weave that I was, just for the minute there, I was thinking, am I doing this right? Yeah. Well, I also just to tease her occasionally, I pull out this as well. The picture's back to front, by the way, which is why the numbers look backwards. But this is done in pyrography. Now this is just a practice piece, which is why it's on brown wood. But I actually kind of like the brown wood. It's kind of like adds to the sepia effect. Yeah. Sometimes the things like that on Moobot occasionally will pop in just and it just lands the something appropriate at exactly the right moment, and it can be quite funny. I think my eyes must be getting a bit tired tonight because this stuff is looking slightly out of focus to me. Oops. Don't understand the reference, Blight Me. That's the camera. That's the cat reaching out for the camera. Let me move it out of his way. I never do call. Well, I very rarely call it wood burning because I'm not burning wood. Yeah. Actually, that's another thing I've got to build somewhere. Is I do have a tiny laser cutter, and by tiny I mean sort of 3-4 inch diameter bed, square bed, which can also do laser etching like that on wood, but. The problem, no, I don't want to do what I'm just about to do. One of the problems though with laser etching like that is you can get a picture like that fairly cheaply, laser etched, depending on the quality of the machine. Depends on whether you see the raster lines or not, but then when you try and sell something like that which is done by hand, people tend not to see the value in it because they're used to sort of the laser etch stuff, which in UK terms will be a few pounds. Laser etching. Oh, wood burning. Yeah, it gets called that here, but it's I don't know, I don't mind calling it wood burning, but you know, people do have a tendency to expect to see smoke and stuff like that, and it's like when you say chainmail, everybody thinks of armor, and you know, the stuff like you showed me, you know, those rosettes that you showed me, there's nothing armor associated with that at all. And a lot of people also think of wood burning as black and white, and I rarely do black and white. I do a lot of shaded work like that, and so that's kind of the reason why I tend to call it pyrography rather than wood burning, but I don't particularly argue over it. I mean, the actual process is more akin to cooking the wood. You know how you make maple syrup? Well, and as you cook the maple syrup, it goes brown. That's kind of what you're doing with wood burning. And sometimes when you're actually doing it, as you're working on it, you do see like the liquid on the surface, and you're dragging the liquid around with the tool, and you're pulling the colour around with you when you're doing it. That's a subtle distinction which I don't think has come across in Europe or the UK. I mean, there's also, there can be almost religious arguments over exactly how you spell chain mail. You know, is it you know, M-A-I-L, or is it M-A-I-L-L-E, or is it chain mail, all one word? And then, now that we're talking about chainmail, Moobot pops up with the shop. Again, I have a tendency to, well, as you can see, the stream title doesn't mention chainmail these days. Or it doesn't always mention it. Chain gang in this particular case, because that was something that was I was described as not so long ago, joining the chain gang. That's an interesting way of describing it. So. Alright, and where's the other one gone? There it is. There is something that I've discovered though, and you probably already know it. These beading mats are great for both, well, I'm assuming they're good for beading because I've not done any on it yet, but they're certainly good for doing chainmail on. I used to use a little bit of like red baize for when I was doing the beading, and that helped a bit. But this stuff is quite nice. What sort of robots is it you're making then, like me? You like the fake categories better and would love to make them real? Sorry, that one I don't understand. Plate or leather? What in sort of? Oh, you mean things like armor type stuff? I've got some scale around here. What have I done with it? I just tried recently as well while I'm looking for what it is I'm looking for. Kumahimo braiding. That's quite good fun to try. God, yeah. Cats are fun to have around, and you know, it's quite nice that they want to sort of sleep on your desk in front of you. But when you're trying to find something and they're probably asleep on it, then it's a little bit frustrating. But I'm experimenting with scale, making a scale flower. Ring off TV watching. See if plate mail, leather mail, the effects different. Oh, okay. Not something I'm familiar with. Talking of leather stuff, have you seen the Danish guy doing leather stuff? If you're interested in watching leather stuff. I don't want to put that on there, I want to just fasten it up. Yeah, the cat must be asleep on my flower. If I'm going to end up sat in front of the television there watching things, I tend to want to do things like cross stitching because I don't actually often watch television. I tend to listen to it with it on more than watch it. And it's one of the downsides of Twitch is a creative section is I do spend a lot of time actually watching creative streams, and you kind of can't watch them and do something else at the same time. There's only a couple of streams I can do that with. Creative streams. What was it I'd like to... Oh, I was talking to somebody today. One of the things I kind of like to try is... Well, it's always fascinating to me to watch is glass blowing. But... one of the things I quite like to do is sort of fusing glass rather than glass blowing. So you're making, you know, take a base plate of glass and then fuse coloured glass on top of it to form a picture or something like that, or even stained glass, making stained glass type pictures. Not necessarily windows, but sort of images and things like that from stained glass. You watch a few they're doing embossing? No, okay, no. I don't recall the last time I saw the Danish guy doing anything like embossing. He's generally on stream. Doing actual leather work, so he's cutting leather, sewing leather, and actually crafting it, you know, shaping it, etc. Dyeing it was the thing I was trying to think of, and polishing it. you do see him sort of carve it occasionally, rotary carve it to put some sort of pattern on it. But generally speaking, he'll be making things like leather wallets and mouse mats, and not so long ago I saw him making an arrow quiver. I think he was making a belt yesterday, a heavy duty belt. So he was carving the back of that a little bit to shave it down, but yeah, or water pipes, as Pucky Ranger 69 in there it says they are water pipes. They're nothing to do with weed. I did so he did a lot of that. If he's still streaming, I think he's at college at the moment, so he's not doing as much as he was. But he did things like marbles as well. And I've just seen recently seen somebody else doing stuff, and they weren't doing pipes. They were doing whether they did them at other times, I don't know. But trying to think what they were doing. It was kind of stuff like marble type stuff, marbles or mushrooms or some sort of shape like that. I can't remember exactly, but I do find it fascinating to watch. Sort of, yeah, something I'd love to try, but I'm not sure I'd really want to do it, if you see what I mean. But I kind of really enjoy trying new things out, and that's, you know, how I came to be doing this. I saw somebody on Twitch doing it, and thought, hey, I'd like to try that, and he kind of helped me out in where to source a kit, if you like, to try, and I really enjoyed doing it, and made a couple of presents out of the kits, and thought, I want to carry on doing this. Okay, you obviously have seen more than I do, or maybe well, there's probably differences in time zones and things like that. I'm not fantastically interested in, yeah. I mean, I suppose, okay, when they're doing water pipes, to be politically correct, I mean, there's still a lot of fascinating stuff goes into the designs and how they, you know, blowing the actual glass to form it, and then obviously, you know, the end use from there. You never know. Some people might be just buying those things for decoration. There are some really pretty looking things. But yeah, so you follow three of them. Okay, that's one more than I'm even aware of. Possibly different time zones, I think. 80% of all pipes. Okay. I guess it can get a bit boring seeing the same thing time after time as well. Yeah, taking a class. It's an idea, actually. It's definitely an idea. Is that taking classes? It's a way to experience it, and at a relatively cheap cost, and you know, get to try it out as well before you try before you buy. It might be something. Maybe, yeah. It's an interesting idea, actually. Is that like me, because it's something I never actually thought about, and it's kind of obvious. Yeah, just try a class in it. And you get to try it, and obviously you've got an expert. I'll say an expert. They might only just be slightly better than you are, but they're teaching it. But you've got an expert there to help you understand what you need and what you don't need. Because it seems like you know, if you're on the, you know, you look on the internet, either at some forums, and I did that when I was looking for some of the carving stuff that I when I can't actually work out why I was interested in carving at the same time as the wood burning. There, I'll use your words. But I was looking online, and there's sort of people there talking about how you need this chisel and that chisel, and I did eventually start with a small kit of chisels, but to be honest, you can start with 3 or 2 if you really need to. And I think there's probably a lot of taking a class. So that's one of the advantages of taking a class. You learn that you don't need 50 things. You can start with just 1. That's kind of... Is that what it is for a torch? Wow. That's kind of my thought. It's too many hobbies. Too many hobbies. I am kind of looking for a commercial hobby, though. I'd like to get... I mean, this isn't bad, making jewellery, but but it's not fantastically commercial. I'd kind of like to to have a commercial hobby that would enable me to buy the stuff for the other hobbies. So this kind of pays for the rings, but and of course it would be absolutely, well, I say absolutely fantastic to have a hobby where you were actually you could actually do it as a job. And of course I know doing a hobby as a job is not quite the same as doing a hobby as a hobby, but at least if you like what you do, then it's got to be a benefit. Your commercial hobby is robotics and LED creations. Okay, sounds interesting. What sort of well, go on, tell us a little bit more. I love LEDs. Sparkly things, you see. Sparkly things, LEDs. For long enough, because I'm that old, I always wanted a blue LED. From the first time they came out, I wanted a blue LED, and that's when they were sort of about £300 a piece. And of course now you can get hundreds for pennies. And of course it's now all about things like RGB LEDs and micro-controlled things. Oh, the cubes, complete with controllers. So you get you put the patterns in. You get the pattern things in there. Okay. Well, I'm assuming you mean that. Single colour RGB. Yeah, you just said RGB, didn't you? Yeah. That's quite a complex wiring as well, isn't it, for an RGB? Or are they... I was about to say the matrix, aren't they? So I suppose you could wire something like the WG pixels. I forgot what the numbers are, where you can feed it with a single bit stream. Yeah. I eat more chips. Have we? Have you gone away and come back, or okay. Let me do another permit, Black Me, if you're going to post a, because you'll have timed out. I'll tell you what. Let me do it this way. Moobot. BLIGHTME. There we go. You should be able to post links now, Black Me, without a problem. Use an Arduino. Yeah. I quite like playing with microcontrollers. So... Let's have a look. You shouldn't be playing games, eat more chips. You should be watching me. I'm going to have a look at this LED. Wow. They do look lovely. Oh, motion controlled as well. Oh, is it in a box? That it looks like it's in a box, isn't it, rather than a standalone cube? But ah, are they pixel strips, or are they wired LEDs? Yeah, it is awesome. Sound reactive and motion. Yeah, that's nice. That is definitely nice. Okay, blimey. You are into that big time, aren't you? If you're having your own pixel strips made made for it. Well, I think that's actually rather amazing. I've seen them, seen things before, but you're not soldering 512. Yeah, I kind of. That's kind of what I was thinking about. 8x8. Yeah, it is 512. Yeah. And I was just thinking that the thought suddenly crossed my mind. Then, of course, 512 RGB LEDs lit to white. You can get RGBW lights, pixels now. That's quite a bit of power if you turn all of those on. You ever thought of doing that sort of thing as an actual, making and selling those as an actual profession? Wiring was a nightmare. I can imagine. And trying to do it so it looked neat when you could, in daylight, shall we say, when you can actually see the wiring and the soldering. Well, I was kind of thinking, mind you, it depends on the brightness, I suppose. I was kind of thinking like 512. That's 10 milliamps. And if you were running, I don't know how efficient they are, but I guess if you're running off a phone charger, that's 500 milliamps to drive a cube. It's not bad. Although phone charger could be 2 amps, I suppose. Actually, it's not as bad as I was thinking. I was probably thinking it was in sort of the 5 to 10 amp range to turn them all on anyway, but I haven't actually sat down and done the maths. Okay, so you've wowed us with the cubes. What about the robots? What's the robotic stuff then, like me? .28 amps. Oh, okay. I'm not going to argue with the designer. So how much do those sell for then? I mean, it's the sort of thing that looks. I was about to say, it looks like it ought to be expensive, and I don't actually. I actually couldn't guess. I kind of wouldn't be surprised if somebody was sort of saying, you know, in the hundreds of dollars. But I don't actually. I don't actually have any sort of perception as to what the value would be. 20 million, 65 LEDs, $120. That sounds like quite reasonable. You did the maths for me. 20 million, 65 LEDs. So you only turn 64 on at a time then? Oh, of course you're multiplexing them, aren't you? Yeah, if you're multiplexing the things. There you go. You see, it's that long. It's that long ago I did anything like that. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, it's such a fascinating conversation here. You see, that Lady Zara, my wife, has just reminded me of what the time is. Okay, yeah, multiplex the strip at the same time, yeah. Okay, well. Let me put another one of these on. Yeah, just thinking then, I've seen LED cubes before and they've always looked fascinating, but I've always been put off by the amount of soldering needed to do it. But it's a pity you're not in the UK. Mind you, at the moment I can't afford it, but had you been, it would have I'd have been giving it serious consideration. Okay, let me put one more on there. Let me do what I was doing and then Yeah, Lady Zara's reminding me. I normally stop at 10 o'clock. I stream for about 2 hours on a night, most nights, and I've gone way past tonight because it's been such fascinating chatting with you, like me, and eat more chips. But I'm gonna need to stop, I'm afraid. It's a great pity because it has been absolutely fascinating talking with you. Yeah, indeed, that's the size and the weight. I know they're not that heavy, but they're relatively heavy. Unfortunately, I'm going to need to say goodnight. I'm going to say thank you very much, Like Me, for the conversation, and eat more chips as well. I have really enjoyed it and learning about what you do there. And I hope I'll catch you streaming, because I'd love to see some of the stuff that you do there. And I will try and catch you one day during at PST -8 UK time. So what you say? Till 10 PM at night Eastern Standard Time, Pacific Standard Time. I think you can I scroll back that far? 10 PM to 2 AM PST. You stay up late, don't you? So that would be 8 hours. Is 2 PM 2 PM GMT UK time at the moment to 6 PM. Okay. Well, now that I've got you followed, I'll get the notification when you go live off the iPod. So I will try and keep an eye out for you and take a look. I should have a chance to look at that sort of time during the. I mean, weekends are easier, of course, but during the week, I'll take, if you're streaming at that time, I'll take a look, and I'll try and say hello. Friday, okay. I don't particularly see any reason why I shouldn't be able to. I will try and take a look, and. I may well be at work, so I might not be particularly chatty, shall we say, on in chat. But I'll try and take a look. What's his name? It's Blight Me. Eat more chips. You don't ask streamers what their real names are. That's not polite. Anyway. Thanks very much. I'll say goodbye. If there's anybody else watching that isn't following, I know you two guys are, and thank you very much for doing that. I will say, just push the follow button. Come back and listen to an interesting conversation like we've had this evening. And I will point out the Facebook and the Twitter and the Etsy and the website on the left-hand side there. And even YouTube, although there's not a lot fantastically on there at the moment. There's only 2 or 3 videos, but I will try and get more up as I get chance. But unfortunately, no fancy URLs for YouTube at the moment. You'll have to do a search for Zaragan Art Studio, 2 words, because until there's so many followers, they don't give you a fancy URL, unfortunately. But thank you very much. I don't know, it shows up quite well on my screen. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Have a great evening from the UK time here, from the White Rose of Yorkshire, and I'll hopefully see you tomorrow or even on your stream on Friday, Like Me. Thank you very much, everybody. Bye bye for now.